Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids. Apologies, I'm still sick, still recovering from COVID. I have a bit of taste back today, so that's good. Good sign. But yeah, the Deliana chase has just started in game. It's going to be running until the 28th of July at 9 a.m. UTC. So you just log in for 7 days over the course of this time period, and every day you get a piece of gear. On the 7th day, you get Deliana for free. She is a new legendary champion, a brand new legendary champion, and you will only be able to get her from this. This is the third time they have done a champion, a chase like this, and they've never come back, right? They've been limited time special edition champions that you can only get through these events. So if you miss her here, you might never get her again. I mean, maybe they'll bring them back at some point, but as of yet, they've never brought them back. So this is your one chance to get her, and she looks very, very good. Let me mention the gear first, then we'll look at her, talk about what she's going to do for a new player, what she's going to do for an established player as well, and breaking down her kit. So you're going to get accuracy gear. And get 3 sets of accuracy gear. It's a 2-piece set, one for every major gear slot here, and it's pretty good, right? You're going to get a 5-star epic weapon the first day, 5-star epic helmet the second day, 6-star chest piece on day 3, 6-star gloves on day 4, and then 6-star legendary shield, 6-star legendary boots on days 5 and 6. Now, it does appear to me as well that this gear is probably set. So gear in this game usually is random, right? It has random stats. But it looks like, if I get out of the way, hang on, this is the smarter, I can just move myself in my editing software, right? My recording software. My weapon I got today, you can compare it to the one you get, right? It has speed, HP percent, and crit rate percent on it, which is they're pretty much the stats I would be putting on Deliana. So this makes me very suspicious that this is going to be fixed gear. And what that means is it's really good if it's fixed gear, especially for a newer player. Like if you come in, if it's random, there's pretty much a 1 in 9 chance that this is good only, right? If it's fixed, you're probably going to get speed boots or maybe HP percentage boots, all that sort of stuff. So this could be really strong gear. So the gear is very good, especially for early game. So that is definitely a big win. Right, let's go in. Let's take a look at her. First of all, visually, I think she looks really, really cool. It reminds me a bit of Syndra with like the floating orbs, and maybe like sort of cross with Marvel vibes, like the Marvel movies. She could be in a Marvel movie, would fit right in. One thing is a bit strange. Maybe they will change it. I feel like she's a bit short. Like if you compare her to Lissandra, Deliana's a bit of a small girl, so I don't know if they will tweak that, make her a little bit taller here in the index, but anyway, these are the minor things that bother me. Anyone remember when they made Iron Brago bigger? I liked that. Anyway, let's take a look at her. She is a HP-based legendary, which means that HP is going to be one of her most important stats. So we take a look at her stats, 20,000 base HP. This is very, very solid. Pretty standard for a HP based legendary. It's going to be very easy to build her to be very, very tanky. She's not going to die very easily. She's going to be a tank. And if we look at her damage is all based on HP. Damage based on HP. Damage based on HP, which means that the more that you up her health, the more survivable she becomes, and also the more damage she's going to do. So it's a win-win. So this is very, very good. The flip side is that HP-based legendaries, they typically don't hit super hard. They're going to hit well, they're going to do good damage, oftentimes, but they're not going to be the top damage. It's usually the attack-based champions do the most damage. So there we go. She actually has okay base attack at 1,000, but warning, attack is literally useless. Attack only does something if your damage is based on attack. So attack is a dead stat for her. Ignore it completely. Her defense at 1,200 is actually very solid. So again, you combine that HP with that defense, and she's going to be a very, very survivable champion. 98 base speed is very average, so that's going to be a little bit of a weakness, not a strong point. Crit rate, crit damage, again, these are the lowest points, so nothing special there. But 30 resistance, 30 accuracy, very good. That's very, very good. So that's a good baseline to start building her to land and resist debuffs, which is a big part of her kit. So let's go in. Let's take a look at her kit. First of all, 33% HP in all battles aura. This is a very, very good aura, because you can use it everywhere. Your starter champion, right, the rare champions you start the game with have a 15% HP in all battles aura. So hers is over twice as good as that. really good, especially for a newer player. And again, it's going to help you everywhere. It's going to help you, early on, especially in tag team arena. You can build some really tanky teams early game in tag arena. It's going to help you in dungeons a ton. So good for dungeons. It's going to help you in campaign. It's going to help you in Doom Tower. Help you a ton in clan boss against the Demon Lord. Great aura. Next, I want to go to her passive. Her passive sort of defines a lot of her identity, what makes her so good. And it's this bit here, the passive part. Increases her accuracy by 2 for every 1,000 HP this champion has. So she has 20,000 baseline. At 50,000, she'd get 100 bonus accuracy. At 100,000 HP, she would have 200 bonus accuracy. And here's the thing, right? For dungeons, especially for a newer player, we go into the dungeons. One of your first big things is going to be getting into, let's say, Dragon is the easiest dungeon. When you get up to Dragon level 20, that's where you start to drop 5 to 6 star gear. You're past that 4-star, 6-star gear. And that's a huge break point for your account. It's going to take you a long time to get there, a couple of months maybe a month. I don't know. It depends. It depends how min-maxy you are. It depends if you watch all my videos or not. But this is where things get good. You need about 200 accuracy to land your debuffs on Dragon. And it's actually the same when we come into the clan bosses. We come into Demon Lord, right? To take on Ultra Nightmare here, you need, I think for Ultra Nightmare, it's 220 accuracy is usually the recommended amount, maybe 230. But around about 200 will work just fine. So 200 accuracy is that first really major breakpoint. And Deliana is going to get a lot of the way there very, very easily. 30 basic. And then I think you can easily get her to 50,000 health, even as a new player, once she is 6-star and you've got her gear rolled up. So she's going to be going in with an extra 100 accuracy. She's going to be sitting at 130 before any other bonuses. You put on some accuracy sets, whatever, that you're going to get from logging in, those login rewards, and she's easily going to have enough accuracy. So that's super strong. That's so strong. For me, I'm expecting when I build her out, she's probably going to be something like, I don't know, 70 to 80,000 is probably what I'm going to aim for with her HP. But we'll see. This also has an active effect. The active effect has a 4-turn cooldown that whenever she drops below half health, she will put strengthen on all allies for 2 turns. This is good. The only thing that's a bit wonky about this, the cooldown is long, is that she's going to be so tanky. She's going to be so tanky. It's going to be difficult to trigger this that often. I would definitely recommend, if I show you a champion that I would build her somewhat like, my Operdin Clanfather. He's not fully built right now. Where is Operdin? Operdin, here he is. So Operdin Clanfather, he's one of the fusions we had earlier in the year. I'd be building her probably something like he is built. I try to get her faster than this for me. So this is more end game. I'd be looking to put her probably like 250 speed end game, 80k HP, about 2000 defense, and so on and so forth. And she'd be pushing over 300 accuracy easily with her passive, right? But I'd be putting her in something like a Guardian set where she's going to absorb damage dealt to allies and heals her every turn. That's going to help her drop down low. I think it's going to be awkward, right? I think early game, you're going to find that this isn't going to be super useful because everyone else is going to die before she drops below half health is my expectation. So that's a bit weird. Anyway, onto her A1. Her A1 is very, very good. Heart Stealer attacks all enemies, 50% chance, books to 60% chance of placing a leech debuff for 2 turns. Damage based on HP. So we don't know how hard that she hits. But I think seeing as she gets so much accuracy for free, I think early game, you'd put her in what that accuracy gear I got for free logging in is going to do. I put her in speed, first of all, HP percent, second of all, and then I'd be looking for crit rate to get some nice free damage out. This AoE A1, though, is super good. Stun set you get from Fire Knight Castle gives you a chance to stun enemy targets, to crowd control them whenever you hit them. So these AoE attacks become super good. She's going to be amazing whenever you get stun set, if you get a good quick stun set for her. Just in general, you give her the War Master Mastery, which you'll definitely want to give her when you're starting out. War Master, which is over here. This one, it's in the bottom left of the offense tree. I'm blocking it, but War Master, big chunk of bonus damage, right? When you attack something. So this is really strong with these AoE A1s. Very good against bosses, especially. And the leech debuff that she places functions like, I think it's you heal for 25 or 30%, I don't remember off the top of my head, of the damage that you deal. When you proc that War Master Mastery, that's where that healing becomes crucial. So go, if you are a new player, watch my free-to-play series I did at the start of this year. I think there's maybe 5 videos in there bringing you through in detail the first 2 weeks of playing the game in 2022, which is basically everything that you need to know. One of the key things, though, to take away from it, to push further in the most important area of the game, which is your Demon Lord clan boss, okay? I also did an early game account takeover where I jumped onto a player's account and I guided them through and I gave them coaching on what to do. I changed their gear. I did an early game one a couple of weeks ago as well. Go check that out too. But getting through Demon Lord clan boss is the most important thing. And that's where you start to get really good stuff. Like when you finally get to Ultra Nightmare, which is very hard, you start to get Sacred Shards. You start to get Legendary Skill Tomes. You know, this is where it gets insane. Even just getting to Nightmare, when you get to Nightmare, that's where you can first start dropping this stuff. And that's where the game really, really opens up. It's going to take a long time, but the key to getting there, at least to getting up to Brutal, to getting to Nightmare, is the War Master Mastery and then Lifesteal Gear or Leech, so that you can heal up, you can be tanky, and you do all the damage with, I keep going to the wrong faction here. Clicking is hard. Sorry, I'm a bit sick. I've got COVID, by the way, which is why my voice is a bit off. Anyway, it's great. This looks like it's a great move. All right, on to the next one. Withering Scorn. Attacks one enemy, 75% books to a 100% chance of putting decreased resistance for 2 turns. If the target's under block buffs, debuff applies a debuff spread effect, taking the decreased resistance debuff on the target and placing it on all enemies. This has a 3-turn cooldown when booked, 4 turns by default. So yeah, single target attack puts decreased resistance. Then if they have block buffs, it will spread it to everyone else. The other targets don't need block buffs, though she does herself apply block buffs AoE on her 3rd move. We'll look at that in a second. Decreased resistance is actually a very new debuff. I think she is the 3rd champion in the game to have decreased resistance. This is very, very useful. Again, I look at Demon Lord clan boss. I say for Ultra Nightmare, you need 220 accuracy. Why is that? Because he has, I think, 210 resistance or 220 resistance, something like that. You basically want to equal their accuracy to their resistance. You actually almost want to exceed it by like 20 or 30 to give you the best chance to land a debuff, which is 97%. Always a 3% chance it gets resisted anyway, always. But yeah, 97% when you have enough accuracy. That's going to be hard to do, right? That's going to be very hard to get enough accuracy on your champions for dungeons, for Doom Tower, for Arena, for anything like that, for Clan Boss. Going to be hard when you start out. She, for a new player, is going to make that so much easier. So much easier, right? For Dragon 20, instead of needing 200 accuracy on everyone that has debuffs, you can get away with probably 100 accuracy because Deliana is going to come in and decrease resistance. That makes it so much easier. It's not even funny how much easier that makes it. You can put defensive gear or damage gear on them instead of the accuracy gear, lifesteal gear. This is a huge, huge deal. So really, really good. And this applies in AoE as well, which is going to be great for getting through those waves too. But you're going to need to do it after her A3. Let's look at her A3 then. Know your place. 5-turn cooldown books to a 4-turn cooldown. Attacks all enemies. 75 books to 100% chance of placing block buffs on each enemy for 2 turns. Heals all allies by 5% of their max HP for each block buffs. I'm going to take a drink because my throat's in trouble. Oh man, COVID freaking sucks. I tell you. Bloody hell. I escaped it until now. Anyway, heals all allies by 5% their max HP for each block buffs placed by this skill, and fills her turn meter by 10% for each block buffs debuff attempt blocked or resisted by the enemy team. So most of the time, how's this going to work? Considering she's going to have so much accuracy from her passive, and you're probably going to put her in those accuracy sets early on, she is going to succeed. So this turn meter fill is going to be very rare. You're never really going to see this. So that's kind of a bummer. But there you go. Look, if they do resist it, she gets some turn meter. So that's kind of nice, but it's not super useful. So kind of ignore this bit. It's these bits at the top that matter. So AoE attack that puts block buffs, and then she's going to heal everyone by 5% max HP for every block buffs. So for typical wave-based content, there are 5 enemies. In the arena, in Hydra, there's 4. So this is going to be a 20% to 25% max HP heal to your entire team every 4 turns. That's good. That's solid. You know, it's very solid. It would be much better if it was based off of her max HP, because her max HP is going to be way higher than all of your damage dealers pretty much, you know. But nonetheless, this is still a solid heal. It's a decent heal. I think early game, very helpful. Yeah, so that's pretty good. Now, block buffs, debuff. This is crucial for Hydra. She's going to be amazing for Hydra, guys. So good for Hydra. She's going to bring you leech, decrease resistance, and block buffs, which is superb. Super good. But yeah, not that useful early game in most places. I think for Dragon 20, again, there's Hordens in those waves that are going to buff themselves and one-shot your champions, which is very scary. She's going to block those buffs, which is very useful. This is probably going to do a decent chunk of damage as well, I'm guessing. We don't know the damage multipliers, of course, yet until we test her out when we get her. But yeah, this is going to be a decent move. It gets much better for Doom Tower hard and for Hydra. So for the more end game content, that's where block buffs becomes really important. It's going to be great as well, even in that early mid game for Arena and for Tag Arena. This is going to be an absolutely brutal move. It's really going to lock down the enemy team and stop them doing their stuff. So very good for that. And yeah, that's basically what she does. So overall, we look at her kit all together. For a new player, how good is Deliana for a new player? For a new player, I think she's absolutely excellent. Fantastic aura, fantastic base stats. You're easily going to be able to build her with enough accuracy. And then with that accuracy, she's going to come in and she's going to decrease the resistance of especially bosses to make it so much easier for you to progress in basically everywhere in the game. She's going to make it so much easier for a new player. She's going to be putting out leeches, which is going to help your team heal up massively, especially with the War Master Mastery. Block buffs is going to be good with a heal. Not super useful early game, the block buffs, but decent. It's okay. Going to be great for Arena, right? In Arena, if you go first, going to be super good. And then the heal is going to be very helpful as well. She's red affinity, which is good against blue affinity, which all the starter champions are. So she's going to be a monster in that early game Arena for sure. But yeah, I think for an early player, she is just fantastic. She's going to help you so much by manipulating the accuracy and resistance requirements for these bosses to help you really push much further. For an end game player like me, how good is she going to be for me? I'm thinking she might still be pretty decent. We're going to have to build her with intention though, right? So for me, I'm looking to use her really in Hydra. Perhaps some Doom Tower bosses is where I'm going to look to use her. For Hydra, I think she's going to be very good. She's going to perform sort of like Ugo, but without the decreased defense. She's sort of like Ugo, but she's going to give you more consistent leeches. She's going to be giving you good chunk healing as well. Yeah, I think she's interesting. I think she's got good potential. I do think she has potential with the changes to Hydra. Now that Head of Decay is going to be provocable, that's where she becomes really strong as potentially the champion to keep your team alive. But you'd have to build her with intention. I think to max her out, you want to be building her with a team that's designed to make use of this decreased resistance debuff, which is going to be difficult enough. Certainly when the higher levels of Hydra come in, and those higher levels might have insanely high resistance, you're going to be wanting increased accuracy and or decrease resistance, and she's going to give you that on top of having block buffs and AoE attacks with leeches, potential strengthen procs, yeah, HP aura. So I think she's got a lot of potential. I think she's great. Yeah, I think she's going to be solid, very solid, great champion to have. So there you go. That is my initial thoughts on Deliana. I'll of course do a playtest on her as soon as I get her, so stay tuned for that. I'm going to have to start saving my books. Now I'm trying to book up Gaius. I'm going to have to save books. How many does she need? She needs 5 plus 4 plus 3. She needs a good chunk. She needs, what's that, 12 books? So it's a good chunk of legendary books. Probably worth it to build her out though. I'm going to build her out and we'll see when I get to playtest her how much damage she does. My quick thoughts, initial thoughts, like I said, you saw my Operdon build there today. That's how I'm thinking of building her. Build her fast, build her tanky, Guardian set, and just let her do her thing. Potentially for higher levels of Hydra, like whenever they add Ultra Nightmare Hydra and whatnot, and we throw this out, you might need to build her with high accuracy and let then her passive carry her up to breach their resistance, or like kind of like for the Frost Spider boss, for example, so she can get decreased resistance out. So bear that in mind too. But yeah, sort of focusing on speed and health anyway, at least first of all. Guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Enjoy your Deliana. Let me know what you think of her. Let me know what you think. And yeah, I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.